Hi, everybody, and welcome to Facebook and YouTube. And it is Girls' Night, it's Ladies' Night, and we're going to be talking about TS, living with TS, and dealing with infertility. And we're going to talk about any and everything in between, whatever you girls want to talk about tonight. So, therefore, and thusly, we are open for discussion, and it's just us ladies. Shh, don't tell anybody. So, anyway, all right, let's start off with living with TS. Now, I know everybody remembers the first time they were told they had TS, or even for you moms out there, moms and dads, you remember the first time you were told your daughter had TS. And so, I think living with TS, there are some things that some girls you know, find difficult, and then there's different challenges for each girl. It really depends on what's going on in your life or what challenges you face in life with TS. There's some girls who deal with, let's say, heart conditions. There's other girls who deal with bone conditions or thyroid issues or, things like that. And I think one of the most important things about dealing with TS, like one of the ways I've learned to cope with it, is talking to other women who have TS. I think that's a huge thing. It's to be able to talk to people who understand what you're going through, people who have been there, done that, bought the T-shirt. That's why I was talking about in the last ladies' night we did. I talked about the book Standing Tall with Turner Syndrome. I don't know if you've read this book. If you haven't, please read it. I highly recommend it for any girl with Turner syndrome. It's just a compiled essays of women who have TS and their personal stories, things that they faced and how they dealt with it. And one of the things I know that we all do when it comes to TS is infertility. Personally, how I'm not going to really, you get over it. Like, I mean, I think you learn to live with it, but at the same time, it's still every time you see a woman who's pregnant or a woman with a baby, there's a lot of times that it still hits you. I remember feeling like I was over it. And then, of course, when I met my husband, it's one of those things that it rehashes when you meet that one person. Alexis Friedel. Hi, Bethany. It's so true. Love this community. I do too. I love my sisters. I can't help but love you girls. Like, y'all, you're the best. And Casey Dickens. I'll have to check it out. Yeah. It's Standing Tall with Turner Syndrome, edited by Claudette Biet Aron. I'll put the title and everything in the comments. Personally, I found this on Amazon. So if you're on Amazon, you can look it up there. And Stacy Davis, hey girl, hey. She knows me well. What's happening? So anyway, that old song, man, that makes me feel old. Back in the day. Anyway, so getting back on the topic of infertility, I think it's something that it hits us hard at first, and it's hard to deal with. But then, talking to your other sisters, like I said, having somebody there that's like, I've been there, done that, and not only that, and I'm just going to be honest, and I hope I don't step on anybody's toes saying this, you know, um, well, I shouldn't say that I step on anybody's toes. I don't think what I'm about to say is going to do that. I think also there's age appropriate ways of, talking to your daughter. And, the thing is like when you find out about your infertility, there's more than one way to be a mom. And I think that's so important for us to talk about because there's so many different ways to be a mom. There's IVF, there's adoption, there's, fostering to adopt, things like that. Rebecca said, hello. Hey, Rebecca, how's it going? But, and as I've said before, it's not about who physically births the child, even though, that's something that we want. We would love to be able to physically birth a child. Because I know when I met my husband and everything, well, ex-husband, it's something that you dream of, growing old with your husband or your loved one, having a family with them and everything. And I know for me, I felt like I was almost taking something from him, if that makes sense. And I think a lot of other girls I've talked to have said kind of the same thing. But the thing is like I said, you shouldn't don't put your worth in that, put your worth in who you are. You are special. Everybody's unique in their own way. If everybody was the same, it would be one boring world. I can tell you that much. Uh, and I think that's very important for us to have our individuality. And that's what makes the world go round. That's what, it's Robin Boas. Infertility is the hardest part of TS for me. I'm glad you're talking about it. Well, thank you. I'm glad I'm talking about it too. I think it's something that's been on my chest because, I think a lot of, and I know there's a lot of parents that watch these videos, parents of girls with TS, I would have to say, sorry, that was my roommate. She was talking to her dog. But, I would have to say your daughter, I think for a lot of parents, they feel like it was hard for them to tell their daughter that they couldn't have kids. But, I think at the same time, I don't know exactly how to explain it, but I know I've talked to other TS girls that have said, you know what, it's okay. It's okay. It's a difficult subject to talk about, I know, but it's going to be okay. Rebecca Setti, I'm happy to be a mom to my fur babies. I know, I miss my little fur baby. But I do understand having a child is a dream for many of us. You're right about being a mom in many ways. Exactly. There's so many different ways to be a mom. And I think it's very important for us to remember that and to remember our value is in who we are as women. It's who we are as a person. And your husband or wife, it's whoever, they love you for you. They don't love you for what you can or can't do. They love you for you. And that's important. And if somebody doesn't love you for you, you can tell them to out the door. Stacy Davis, exactly. And it's more important to talk and get input from someone who is or has gone through it. Like you're talking about infertility and you're wanting to adopt. Talk to a TS sister who has. I don't know if there was more to the comment, Stacy. I'm sorry. It's only letting me see that much. So, but I mean, it is. And I think that there's also some things, some girls, I know there are some girls who, okay, personally, like I couldn't get into the military because of some of my conditions and everything. But, there's other ways for you to achieve. I'm going to talk about dreams for a minute because I got a message about someone asking about, can you talk about TS and maybe overcoming some of the things that you've had to deal with or, let's say you could or couldn't do because you had TS. Leah Jones, there's so many sisters who are moms through being teachers. Exactly. Like, I mean, I know it's not being a mom, but like I said, I have 22 nieces and nephews, and those kids are my world. I love my nieces and nephews. I am the cool Aunt Beppy that loves them. They love me, and I've got enough kids to love on. Trust me. All right. Kaylin Martin, I hope I'm saying your name right. If I'm not, please let me know. I don't want to upset anyone with this, but I used to get really jealous and sad when people would announce their pregnancies. My husband and I have finally got used to the fact I couldn't. I think I know what you're saying, but like I said, like some comments, Facebook won't let me read the whole comment, but that is something to talk about, Kaylin, and I think that is a very good point you bring up. I think at first it does hurt. Like when you hear about, so-and-so from high school. I can't remember how many times I got on Facebook and I would see pregnancy announcements from like my friends from high school or, it almost, it's like, really? I can't do that. Like it's sad. Like it's mostly for you. Like I remember one day I was in Japan and I was sitting in Burger King and I hadn't really broken down about infertility for a while. And then I was in Burger King and of course I don't speak Japanese, but anybody knows what a sonogram picture looks like. And so I noticed that it was this girl telling her mom that she was pregnant, possibly, or talking about their pregnancy. And, it makes me sad because, I feel like those are moments I'm not going to have with my mom, and I know for all of us, it's the same way. Like we might not have those moments with our moms, but, when I talked to my mom about it, she said, Bethany, we can still have those moments like when you tell me that you get to adopt, Sorry, I know my fingers in front of the camera. I'm trying to read these comments as they come in. But, I think that's also important that, you're going to be able to announce to your family that you've adopted or you're going through IVF, things like that. It's just, any way that a child comes into your life is special. It really is. It's special any way the child comes in. Angela Hicks, I feel like so many women tie their self-worth to having children. We are so much more. Thank you. Yeah, and that's what I was saying earlier. Like, our value is in who we are as a woman, who we are as, people. We're individual, and so what you bring to the table is important and it's special. So, all right, let me get to the next one. Kayla Martin. Okay, yeah, I ended up getting pregnant naturally, but sorry, more comments. But before I did, people always asked if I was pregnant. I have a big belly, and it was so upsetting. Yeah, I can understand that. That never is easy. Okay, so Casey Dickens says it's like a catch-22. Happy for them, but grieving for myself. Exactly. Thank you. Yes, it is a catch-22 because like whenever my sister or my brother would announce, my brother and his wife, let's say, when they would announce that they were pregnant, it really is like I'm happy for them that they're having a baby, and I'm happy that I'm getting another niece or nephew. But yeah, it does make you sad, like that's something that you're not going to experience that way. And I want to emphasize that way because, like I said before, it's not about who births a child. It's about who raises the child. And I think that that's more important. All right. And then Stacy. I know that my finger keeps getting in front of the camera, guys. I apologize. My boyfriend Chris has the male version of TS, so he has had to deal with infertility also. So right now we're talking about adoption in the future. And like I said, yeah, adoption is it's a loving option. It's a very, very, very special thing that happens in your life. And there's so many children that need a mom or dad. Okay,